let's do a fixing an eBay junk lot and see what happens here. I don't think I've done many of these yet, but I do this pretty often. I just never take a video of it. Partly because when I get stuff like this, I don't really investigate it too hard. I just kind of throw it in a pile with a bunch of other stuff because I like to fix a bunch of them at a time and not just one at a time or whatever. And I also like to mod them, and sometimes I don't have all the mods figured out for some of these consoles, so I just don't even bother. I got this lot for about $250 shipped. It was bid, it wasn't a buy it now, so I probably bid some people out of this. If they're watching, sorry. I got a Panasonic 3DO. It's an FZ1. I got an Atari Lynx Model 2. Pretty bad condition, a lot of stuff missing. I got 3 Sega CD top loaders or side loaders, whatever you want to call them, and I got 1 Sega CD front loader. These are actually getting more and more sought after, probably because they break a lot. They're pretty fragile on the inside. I've fixed a ton of these. Probably about 6 years ago, I had a huge stack of these, and I went through and fixed a bunch of them. And I had a bunch of them that were just internally broken, and they worked otherwise. The crown jewel is the CDX. If I can get that repaired, I can sell that alone for what I've paid for all of this stuff. The CDX is also highly sought after, you know. I wouldn't say it's super rare, but it's highly sought after, and for some reason prices just keep going up and up and up. I can remember I was buying these left and right for $100 or less, you know, maybe not completely working, you know, the CD goes out of these a lot, and the cart side still works or whatever, so I probably haven't bought more than half a dozen of these in the last, I don't know, 4 years or so. It used to be a lot cheaper to get these, but now, for whatever reason, they're more expensive. So I'm gonna try to start with something here, and you know, because that's the big thing with eBay junk lots is a lot of times there'll be here's a bunch of stuff that we didn't test, or you know, somebody will say it doesn't work, but they just didn't know what they were doing, and it does work. I get that a lot with the Jaguar, actually, because you can't just turn on the Jaguar. You have to have a game in it where it won't turn on, and a lot of people just don't know that. So I might find that a lot of this stuff actually works. I don't know. That's also another reason. I probably would have done 4 or 5 Atari Jaguar videos, you know, over the last couple years. So I still buy those not working whenever they're cheap. And then I get them in and they work fine, you know, because I just stick a clean cart in it or clean the cart connector and boom, it's working. I'm like, well, there goes that video. So let's dig in here. All right, so I was actually going to not mess with this. You know, they're not super expensive, and this one's pretty sad shape, missing the battery cover on the bottom. The screen is cracked and very scratched up, and the rubber grips on the back side right here are missing on this one, so somebody was trying to take it apart because 4 of the screws are hidden underneath of those. Why would they do that? That sucks. So I was just going to put this away, and then I found my Atari Lynx parts box, readily accessible. That one looks really nice. Audio checkmark Video X. So that one's got no video. Man, that thing looks really freaking good. That game does not look good though. Whew, that is terrible. I'm not sure if I can get that to focus in here. Yeah, look at the contacts on that thing. Very, very corroded. Makes me wonder if the pins in here got corroded. That would suck. It's hard to tell. This is what I hate about eBay, is I'll buy big lots of this stuff and I'll decide not to work on like the Atari Lynx, so I'll just throw it in a box. You know, and then years later I open up the box and think, God, look at all this stuff. I mean, look at this giant package of Lynx manuals. Just the game manuals. It's crazy. I just decided not to do anything with it, so I threw it in a box. Open the box, I'm like, wow. So I have 3 Model 1 Lynx in here, and these really don't look good. That one says it works. This is a very ugly console. I mean, Model 2 was such a step up. Don't you agree? I mean, that thing is enormous, way too huge. Not that this one isn't super huge. And I believe these were maybe the second system that was backlit. I believe the Turbo Express was first. I bet this one actually would feel better, though, in your hands. I don't know. Yeah, for big hands like mine, having that extra bead around the outside of the directional pad, that feels nicer, but God, that just looks so much nicer. Here's my games. I have no idea if any of these are rare or expensive, but I can tell you right now, all the contacts are starting to look like crap. I'm guessing somebody went in here and tried to clean them. It's like the outside contacts are worse. Boy, some of these are just totally gone. I should have tried to see what was in here that was valuable a long time ago and sold them, because these are all... Looks like California Games is the one with the best contacts. Yeah, these are all really going downhill fast. That's too bad. That's another thing I hate about this, is put stuff away and forget about it. And it just sits in there and rots and rusts. And I do have an AC adapter. It says Atari. Ooh. Some exposed wire up there. Doesn't look open, it's just exposed, and it looks like the right adapter for the Lynx anyway. Makes me wonder if all the games that I have came from the same person, because they're all, it's almost like they sanded them down to try to shine up the contacts, and then whatever they used to clean them just corroded the copper. Bet we don't even have power. Oh, I seen something. Looks like it's permanently stuck on. It's going to be hard to get on camera. Doesn't seem to want to turn off. Yeah, also I can look in here and see the pins on this connector are pretty corroded anyway. Well, I've got power, I got backlight. All I got's yeah, you can kind of see that. Just some corrupted graphics. Doesn't seem to matter if the game is in there or not, though. Still just corrupted graphics. Same thing. I can't remember if the Lynx has like a startup sequence or not. But like I said, not super worried about that, so I'm just going to put them back away again. I might actually leave the games out and just decide what to do with those, because the longer they sit, the worse they're going to get. Alright, moving on to the 3DO. I accidentally turned it on whenever I was plugging in composite. This CD drive is messed up. Got the splash screen, that's good. It's possible the only wrong with it is actually the disk drive. Kind of acts like maybe it's one of those where the laser hasn't gone all the way down and the actual tray is hitting on it. Alright, well, it looks like I just got 4 screws holding this thing together. And it looks like I'm actually missing 2 of them. Phew. Well, the spindle is definitely up right now. Huh. Didn't even do anything yet. Typical. Well, I guess not, because it's not doing anything else. It's not trying to load. Got splash screen again. The disc is not spinning. I don't think it ever did. And the access light's coming on like it was supposed to attempt something. I don't remember this thing having a fan on it. That's funny. It is right there next to the whatever power transistors those are. Well, you might actually have a laser problem. And that's something I don't really feel like tackling right now. Actually, it looks like top shielding just pops right off real easy. Yikes. Somebody went to town on these screws. Might also not. Yeah, the access light's coming on, so I think it knows it's in. Sometimes these trays have a limit switch on them to say that they're all the way in. It stinks like cigarette smoke, which could mean a dirty laser. Not sure if that would keep it from spinning. Well, and the laser's not returning to center either. And where we've seen that before, the TGCD broken gears in there. I'm also betting the original reason it wouldn't come out is the belt. I can see a belt right there in front and center. I bet that belt was loose. Just knocking it around. Kind of brought it back. Actually, I can also see the little flex cable for the laser isn't quite centered all the way, or it's not quite all the way into its connector. There you can see the flex cable is not all the way into its connector. I kind of doubt that that's the problem, but it wouldn't hurt to get it back in there. One possible way I have to easily access this is if I can get the tray out, kill the power. No, that's really not that helpful. I don't see any manufacturer's markings on this particular CD-ROM, so I assume it's Panasonic. But it might be possible that the whole tray can come out. That looks like I'm missing some screws that hold the tray down too. I can't prove it. It does look like there was at one time screws there and now they're missing. What the screw should look like, and somebody mangled the shit out of a couple of these. Terrible. Well, instead of trying to get the screw out, they just broke the damn thing off. Super. Alright, so the top bars, what are you going to call those, are off, and yeah, it's definitely missing. Looks like there should be 4 screws there holding it down. Looks like there is a limit switch for the laser assembly to be all the way in. Can't see if there's usually not one for out. All the wires seem to be connected. There's the laser. There's the limit switch for the tray being all the way out. I can't tell if we've got burn marks down here. What's going on? Can't even tell what's on top of it. It might actually be electrolytic caps that leaked through. Might be something we could look at and test. Looks like I got a couple screws here. Looks like maybe there should have been one there and there. Possible more screws missing. But that might let us look at the circuit board a little closer. Yeah. Smaller screwdriver. And then we've also got 2 ribbon cables on the back. You can just pull out of the connector. That'll ease this a little more. Matter of fact, I'm not real sure. Both of those were in the circuit board side very well. Ooh. More bad news. Get that with the close-up camera. We've got, come on, focus. Got 2 really bad contacts on the thicker ribbon cable. You can see where the contacts would normally come up. It looks like a little line of dirt. A little black line right there. That's about how far the contacts on the connector come up to the ribbon cable. And you can see they just push those things right off there. The problem is, do we say that was the original problem, or was that another problem that popped up when somebody went in here and started messing around? You know, the original problem could have been these caps or something. It's too hard to tell. Somebody has definitely been into it though. Ooh, that fell right out of there. 2 of them. One here and here. I didn't even see if they were both connected or not. But the laser assembly, or the sled drive motor, that connector is broken on the PCB, so it's not even holding the female connector on the motor. But yeah, we definitely had electrolytic caps on here, and it actually looks like somebody was in here and changed them, and maybe that's the dark shit that I'm seeing is just somebody burned the flux and didn't clean it off. And it honestly doesn't look like one of them is even soldered in there very well. More close-ups. This is going to be really hard to get. See if I can get the lighting just right. Yeah, I can't focus much more in there. You can almost tell that one right there doesn't look like it's soldered to the board at all, does it? Yeah, that's definitely just burnt flux, isn't it? I might clean those up a little bit just to make sure they're all soldered in there very well. Also check cap polarity. The brand appears to be QVS. I've never heard of it. What's even more fun, wow, I don't actually see a freaking polarity on these caps, electrolytic caps, and I don't see a polarity on them. Now you can tell the board is marked with polarity. That white mark would be negative, I would assume, but there is not like a, I mean, just what I would consider a normal stripe or indicator of the negative side of that cap. That's crazy. Let's see right there, there's a bunch of normal ones with the big stripe on it that says negative. I don't know if these are original or not. That actually doesn't look too original on that one. Super, super weird. Also, I'm seeing this chip right here, and it looks like it may have had a heat sink on it. It's a little hard to tell. I can make nail prints in it, like it had some kind of thermal paste on it. It's a really odd package on the sides. It looks like there might have been some kind of allocation for some kind of clip to keep the heatsink on there. I don't know if that's is that the Motorola sign on it? Or not Motorola. What am I trying to think of? 8388 SR. No other indication on the board of what it might be. Boy, it just seems to be like one thing after another with this console. Somebody screwed up a cap job. Connectors are all broken. I mean, after finding that, I don't know that there's any reason to go much further with this one. I think I do have another FZ1, but was it the yeah, it's been plugged in the whole time. Is it the connector up here? I wouldn't, man, I wouldn't think so, because they're a nice rolled edge, and it looks like something pushed it when being inserted, and that would not have happened with this connector. I don't see any crap down inside of it or nothing. And there is a bit of a ridge to them down in the center. And it looks like one on this far end seems to be bent further away from the ribbon cable than the rest. And that is one of them with the messed up contact. So is it me, or is this looking more and more like a parts console? A lot of problems here to fix. I mean, I could get another ribbon cable from another console. I could replace those caps. I don't know what to do about that connector though. It's possible I could find some other 2-pin power connector to replace that with. Nothing else super obvious. No crater chips. There's another limit switch on the PCB. I wonder if that's the what is that? That'd been up front. That might actually, it looks like it might be for the laser assembly rise and lower somehow. I have to watch it in action. Oh, another problem just popped up. Broken limit switch wire. The limit switch that shows the laser assembly is all the way in just broke off, and it actually looks like it's been resoldered before. Let's see it right there. Here's my wire. Doesn't appear to have any solder on it. So it broke off, and they had stripped that much of it back, maybe. Yikes. I think I'm going to call it on this one and just say parts console. Well, what might be the easiest thing to do would just be to swap out the entire CD-ROM, because it's just the 2 ribbon cables and the 4 bolts holding it down. That's not a bad idea. But I'm already getting pretty long into this video, so I want to move on. So I'm just going to throw this to the side and move on to the next console. And after trying to lay that PCB back down on there, all those caps are getting in the way, so I can tell they were definitely not the original sizes either, which doesn't matter, but if I go to replace them ever, I definitely want to figure out, at least what microfarad they were, to be sure that those are the right ones, because they may not be. After throwing those top braces back in, I don't really see the necessity of them, honestly. something else. I am missing something major here. I need the magnet that holds the damn thing down. Anyway, what I was saying was these braces don't seem to do shit because this metal box that surrounds the assembly has a back side here, which will keep it, you know, from bowing out or whatever. So 2 of them, I don't really see the necessity. But yeah, there should be between here and here a plastic piece that's holding that magnet that would be on top of the CD to hold it to the spindle. That's completely missing. Well, it was definitely never going to work without that. And this thing is definitely a parts unit.